Nothing too crazy, but we just upgraded the fiber optics lines in your neighborhood.
Hi, my name is Gene. Today, we're going to talk about mastering the field of door-to-door sales. This is based on the psychology of convincing strangers to upgrade their internet service from Spectrum, which is a copper coax, to Frontier, which is a fiber optic service. All right? Now, when you enter this business, they're going to teach you how to be successful, and they call it a management training program. They're going to teach you the 8 steps to success, which is basically the mentality you need to adopt in order to be successful in this business. They're going to teach you 5 steps to a conversation, which is basically your winning sales pitch and how you talk to customers. They're going to teach you something called Fuji factors, which touches a little bit about customer psychology, and they're going to teach you how to work the field based on garden theory and the law of averages. And finally, they're going to teach you a mindset that will deliver confidence, and they call it assuming the sale. All right? What they give you when you enter this business is they give you the standard sales pitch. This is your foundation. It includes your introduction, your short story, your presentation, your close, and your rehash. They also give you product training. In this case, they're going to teach you about the differences of copper versus fiber. And they'll give you sales tools, a CRM or sales rabbit that allows you to manage the field and work your territory properly. Now, the goal of all of this is to teach you or to help you raise the customer's impulse above the buying line. And when you can do that, you'll be able to close the sale. Now, what's missing in the way this management training program works? Well, you practice rebuttals almost every day, but we never talk about overcoming objections, which is the objections that the customer has in his head. And ideally, you can overcome those without the customer even have to say them. We're also conditioned to expect no from the customer. What we are not done is we're not taught how to help the customers find yes. We're just taught that we need to keep our attitude up, even though we expect no's over and over. You learn what to say, but you don't learn when and why in the context of customer psychology and managing their perceptions. And you aren't coached to adapt the product knowledge that they give you and the standard pitch to actually build trust and make it make sense for the customer. Because in reality, when you follow the standard pitch, you'll be perceived as a salesperson, all right? And when you adopt a mindset to serve, you'll be given permission and more time to help the customer discover a solution, which is the one that you're representing, all right? There's also another reality that I think everybody should understand. Only, I would say, 1 out of every 100 customers that you talk to will lead to a closed sale using the standard pitch. So, mastering the field is about the other 99 that you will encounter. All right, so I'm basically going to go over what it meant to me to actually master the field. All right, the way that I look at it is the standard pitch that you were given is like a highway. Let's call it the standard pitch highway. Step 1, obviously, is your introduction. The things that are really important in an introduction is your C factors. That means smiling, eye contact, and enthusiasm, and also keeping it short and simple, because the goal is to get to the qualifying questions as soon as possible. One of the techniques that I use in order to prime myself before the customer opens the door is when I hear some shuffling behind the door and I think the customer's about to answer, I prime myself by kind of telling myself something funny, and as soon as that door opens, I'm kind of laughing like, nice to meet you. My name is Gene, and the reason that I'm here. So that is what we need to do to make sure we are primed for our intro and keep it short and sweet. The second step is your short story or your qualifying questions. In this business, we want to know who the competitor is. Is it Spectrum? We want to know what they get from Spectrum. Are you bundled? Is it internet only, or is it internet, cable TV, and a landline phone? And sometimes we want to know how much do they pay. Now, the thing that I discovered is you only need one or two of the answers to these questions before moving on. And what do we move on to? We move on to an off-ramp, which is the how do they use the internet and what do they use it for. These are the hotspots, the pain points, and in many cases, are great to have. I would love to have high-speed internet. I would love to have lower prices. Whatever that is the off-ramp. All right? So the off-ramp, getting off the off-ramp is understanding how to communicate and ask certain questions. For example, in the standard pitch, you would assume that the customer is experiencing lagging and buffering or dead spots, but you cannot always assume that, and most of the time, customers are not having any issues with their internet. So you want to try to get into other areas of how they may use the internet. Do they work from home? Are they gamers? How many users and how many devices? And do they have kids? Because the answer to each one of these questions can be an off-ramp, and you only need one in order to find an off-ramp. All right? Once you find an off-ramp, which is a hotspot, pain point, or something that the customer thinks that, wow, that would be great to have, then you start having a conversation. You're listening actively and you're responding according to what the customer says. You're asking relevant questions. You're gaining trust and you're helping them make it make sense. What you're looking for is you're looking for the on-ramp back into step 3, which is your presentation. Here's where you talk about copper versus fiber in the context of the pain point or the hotspot that you just took an off-ramp to talk about. This is how you raise impulse because you're talking about something that the customer not only understands, but is willing to listen to. And you're building trust because before you get into pricing and stuff like that, you put up your hands, which we call panda paws, and you say, my goal is to understand how you use the internet, and I don't want to give you more than you need. And you try to introduce a little indifference into that conversation. And that basically helps you get to the close and the rehash. And this is basically the standard pitch highway and how to use what I call off-ramp, on-ramp strategy to really visualize the conversation that you want to have. And one final thing, assuming the sale is how you have confidence, but it doesn't mean you assume the customer's going to buy or you assume you found the right customer. It's internal. It means you have the confidence that no matter what the customer says, you can make it make sense for them. And this is what I call mastering the field in door-to-door sales. Now, just a little bit of background as we wrap this up. From August to December 2023, I learned, mastered, and began training frontier sales reps how to master the field of door-to-door sales. And I enhanced everything their management training program taught by applying customer psychology, which allows you as the salesperson to take control of every